Hey, you're not the one who requested the appraisal for my parents' house, right? I asked in horror, and my husband looked at me with a scowl and said,
Yes, but what?
Why? Why are you trying to sell my parents' house without permission?
Because we're a couple. Your parents' house is also my parents' house, isn't it?
He uttered such incomprehensible words with an indifferent tone, showing an attitude that seemed to blame me instead. In the end,
if you don't like it, leave.
With those dismissive words, he cast me away. I decided to divorce my husband and leave home. My name is Lizzie, and I'm 29 years old. After graduating from college, I worked in a pharmacy as a pharmacist. A few years ago, I finally found my husband Ronald, who is 3 years older. Not only is he kind and funny, but he's got a nice side to him that cares about me and the people I care about. However, there was a challenging journey to reach this point. He's always had a gambling habit, and we've had a few fights because of it. He spends most of his salary on gambling, and when he runs out of money, he goes into debt. If he was winning, fine, but when he was losing, he was on edge the whole time. I can't marry such a gambler no matter how much I love him. When I hesitated to marry him, he looked at me seriously and said,
I will stop gambling. I will pay back all my debts. That's why I want you to marry me.
True to his words, he completely quit gambling and cleared his debts. I decided to marry him, but I set a condition too. If you ever go back to the gambling, we'll divorce. He agreed, and within 3 years from our first meeting, we finally tied the knot. Ronald, despite his cheerful demeanor, had a sad past. His parents died in an accident when he was young, and he was raised in a foster facility. Consequently, he lacks many memories with his parents. Our marital home is about a 2-hour drive from my hometown. After marriage, we frequently visit, and he treats my parents like his own.
Thank you for always treating me so well, like a real son. I'm truly grateful for that. It feels like I've gained parents of my own.
Speaking warmly to my parents, my husband continued smiling. Seeing him so happy, I felt a warmth inside. A few years after our marriage, on a certain day— What? Dad? No way! A sudden call from my mother revealed the shocking news of my father's sudden death that morning.
He collapsed this morning, unconscious. It's too late.
Oh no! I quickly went to my parents' house with my husband, worried about my crying mother over the phone. What I saw was my father's lifeless figure with a pale face.
Why? Hey, wake up, please.
Frantically shaking my father's shoulders, my mother continued to call out. Witnessing her desperate efforts, I felt an indescribable emotion. After the funeral, let's all move in together with me here. I proposed this to my mother, but she never nodded in agreement.
It's a house full of memories with him, so I'll continue to live here. And your older sister is here too.
Since my real sister, who divorced a while ago, decided to return home with her daughter, I left the care of my mother to my sister. A few months later, I received unexpected news from my sister. Mom has passed away. According to my sister, after my father's death, my mother's health rapidly deteriorated. She hardly ate, secluded herself in her room, and when we tried to take her to the hospital, it was too late. Following my father, my mother. If only I could have helped her sooner. I couldn't shake off the regret. Why didn't I call or visit more? Was it just because I thought my sister could handle it? But my mother was far from okay. The grief over my parents' deaths wasn't mine alone. Upon learning of my mother's passing, my husband shed tears right in front of me. On the day my father passed away, he comforted me as I wept. He was crying like such a helpless child. When I saw that, I realized that he truly cared about my parents. Although my mother's funeral is over and things have settled down, my sister and I were left with various formalities. The biggest problem is my parents' house. I couldn't bear the thought of parting with the house my parents cherished. After discussions, it was decided that my sister would live in the family home with her daughter. 2 months later, I received an unusual call from my sister. "Hello, Haley."
"Oh, Lizzie. I'm sorry, it's Sun."
Her voice sounded somewhat somber, noticeably different from usual. "What's wrong? It's rare for you to call."
"Actually, a real estate agent came to the house earlier."
"Huh? A real estate agent?"
"I don't really understand, but did you do something, Lizzie?"
"Me? No, I haven't done anything."
"I see."
Her voice was pondering, and she muttered,
"That's strange."
Apparently, she thought I had called the real estate agent for our family home. First of all, why did the real estate agent come? I asked my sister the most crucial question.
"Well, they said, we've come to appraise the house."
Appraise? Appraise means determining the value of the house, right? My sister had no intention of selling the family home, so why? When I asked her for more details, she said that a real estate agent suddenly visited our parents' house and said,
"I have received a request and have come to assess the property."
My sister had no recollection of making such a request, and she thought I might have done it. Wait a minute, that's strange. There's no way I'd want to sell the precious home our parents left us.
"Yeah, you and I agreed to keep the family home, so the matter should have been settled."
"So, what happened in the end?"
"I thought it was strange, so I said I didn't request such a thing and declined. Oh, but I did get their contact information just in case."
"Can you tell me the contact information for that agency?" I immediately called the agency after obtaining the contact information from my sister. I provided the address of my family home and had the agent who came for the appraisal on the line. Upon confirmation,
"Yes, we did indeed visit Mr. Davis's family home today."
Both my sister and I did not request an appraisal for the family home.
"Even if you say that, we received the request here, and..."
By any chance, could you tell me the name of the requester?
It's Ronald, right?"
What? Ronald? Are you kidding me? No way my husband tried to sell my parents' house without my permission. Unable to accept this, I confirmed with the agent once again. This has to be a joke, right?
"No, we did receive a request here."
So, let me get this straight.
"He said he wanted to know the value because he's planning to sell the house soon."
Faced with this unexpected situation, I managed to decline the appraisal. I instantly went to my husband. "Hey, can we talk for a moment?"
"Huh? What's up?"
As my husband casually played with his phone, I nervously asked, "Hey, you're not the one who requested an appraisal for my family's house, right?" He responded with a puzzled expression.
"Yeah? But?"
"What's with that yeah, but? What are you thinking? You didn't consult me and just decided to request an appraisal without permission." Even my sister was shocked. Why would you do something like this?
"What? Why are you so angry? I mean, there's nothing wrong with an appraisal, is there?"
It's not about whether it's a problem or not. Why would you do something on your own without permission? My sister is living in our family home and there's no intention to sell it. When I raised my voice, my husband sighed in annoyance.
"I don't know why you're so angry. But don't make a fuss about just an appraisal. I haven't sold it yet."
It's not about that issue. Why would you try to sell my family's home without consulting me?
"Well, we're married, so your family home from before is mine too, right?"
Huh? I get that we're married, but even so, is it normal to just go ahead and try to sell my family's home like that? Suppressing my anger, I pressed my husband for further explanation. Enough already. It's true that we're married, but trying to sell the precious home left by my mom and dad without any consideration? It just doesn't make sense. In response to my outburst, my husband says,
"But you see, It's a waste for your sister and her 2 kids to live in such a spacious house, right?
What are you talking about?
Since she's a single mom, wouldn't it be better for her to live in an apartment? Selling that house would give us financial stability.
His words leave me dumbfounded, struggling to comprehend the situation. Observing my stunned reaction, my husband adds,
Anyway, your parents are no longer here. Listen to me, your husband, and everything will be fine.
The kindness he had at the beginning of our marriage is nowhere to be found. It was as if he thought that all that mattered was what he thought was right. But that kind of rhetoric is unacceptable. Are you kidding me? Trying to sell the things my parents cherished? It's outrageous. I shouted at him, and he retorted,
Is your childhood home more important to you than me, Lizzie?
What?
If your childhood home is so crucial, then you don't belong here anymore. If you don't like it, get out of this house.
With heavy footsteps, he returned to his room. In that moment, an indescribable anger surged within me. Unbelievable. To tell me to leave, of all things? Simultaneously, one thing crossed my mind. The reason why my husband suddenly wanted to sell the family home. Why all of a sudden? We shouldn't be struggling with our lives or anything. No need to ponder. Knowing his past, I could easily imagine the reason. Gambling. He needs money for gambling. There's no other reason why Ronald would suddenly sell the family home. Despite repeatedly promising to quit, he's secretly selling our precious family home for gambling funds. My patience has reached its limit this time. If that's how it's going to be, then I'll do as I please. From the beginning of our marriage, I made it clear that if he ever got involved in gambling again, it would lead to divorce. While he was asleep, I packed my things and left the divorce agreement on the table. I headed to the family home where my sister and her child live. The next day, when I woke up, I saw numerous missed calls and messages from my husband. He must have seen the divorce agreement. Reluctantly, I answered his call. Hello? As soon as he heard my voice, he bombarded me with rapid-fire questions.
Hey, why aren't you at home? Why is the divorce agreement sitting there? Wait, where are you right now?
You told me to get out if you don't like it, remember?
Well, that might be true, but...
Ronald, you said it, didn't you? Lizzie, just do what I say. So I left as you told me to, right? Despite his confusion, he reluctantly responded to my statement.
Well, I did tell you to get out, but I didn't mean it to lead to divorce. Let's just talk it out for now.
Talk it out? Well then, let me hear it. Why on earth did you get the idea to sell the family home?
Well, you see...
Answer me properly.
Ugh.
After persistently pressing him with questions, my intuition was spot on. My husband was once again involved in gambling without my knowledge, and not just the same kind as before. This time, he had ventured into stocks and forex. Each time he incurred losses, he took on debts, covering our living expenses to keep it hidden from me. It turned out he was burdened with debts close to $70,000. What? $70,000? Are you kidding me?
Sorry, I borrowed once and it became a habit. I couldn't tell you to keep it a secret.
Still, that doesn't justify selling someone's family home. Unbelievable. You're finished as a person.
It's not like that, Lizzie. I didn't mean any harm.
All this time,
I've been saving for our future.
He used to boast proudly. I thought he had quit gambling and was working seriously for our future. Yet, behind my back, he was giving me borrowed money as salary. Of course, I'm an irredeemable fool for not noticing it before. Still, I loved my husband, and that's why I've stayed married until now, believing in his word.
Lizzie, please, come back to me.
I poured out my emotions to my pleading husband as much as I could. I believed in your words. I'll quit gambling. All this time. I've believed in it for so long. Yet nothing has changed from before we got married. I can't take it anymore. I've reached my limit. I can't consider you as family anymore. Let's divorce and never show up in front of me again." I hung up the phone, swallowing my bitter feelings and expressing everything I wanted to say. After that, he called back several times, but I didn't respond. Later on, I hired a lawyer, and with my strong determination, the divorce was finalized. Since my ex-husband was entirely at fault, the divorce was smoothly accepted, and I could even claim alimony. Of course, it's impossible for him to get my parents' house. All that remained for my ex-husband was the $70,000 debt accumulated from gambling. Even after the divorce was finalized, he tried every possible means to get me to get back together with him. Like a stalker.
I messed up. I won't do anything selfish like that anymore. I'll really quit gambling. Please, forgive me. Without you, Lizzie, I'll truly be all alone.
Even if he says such things now, my heart remains unmoved. On the contrary, it even makes me nauseous. After that, I changed my phone number and email address. I also blocked incoming calls from my ex-husband. I consulted with the police and obtained a restraining order, completely cutting off any ties with my ex-husband. My ex-husband continues to live a difficult life, burdened with debts. His income from work alone is insufficient to keep up with repayments. He has fallen into a negative spiral of borrowing from various sources to pay off existing debts. Repayment seems impossible at this rate, and bankruptcy might be inevitable. Curing a gambling addiction at its core is challenging. I now believe that the divorce was the right decision. On the other hand, I am enjoying peaceful days with my sister and niece, the three of us together, in that beloved family home left by my parents. Marriage to my ex-husband might have been a mistake, but ultimately I managed to protect the house my father and mother left behind. And this is how I was able to get back to my peaceful life with my sister and my sweet niece. For the sake of my parents who raised me with care, I won't dwell on the past. From now on, I will live my life looking only forward.